Hello and welcome back to another episode of Aurora 4X. Last time I already showed you the distance meter built into Aurora, but I forgot to tell you how to actually use it. Essentially it's Shift, left mouse, keep it clicked, pull the mouse wherever you want it and read up the distance. So we are talking about close to 15 billion kilometers here. Another thing I did wrong the last time, I measured this one here at around 3 billion. Nope, 10 times as much. So the solar system is fairly large here. A couple of other things I did between those episodes or the recordings is I fixed some of our ships. There were some not really optimal choices and downright errors in some others. Therefore and in addition I added a jump ship in order not to have to do it and take even more time than those last episodes already took. Okay, I built a jump ship. It weighs in at 3.8 kilotons. And one thing which is very important for a jump ship is keep a look at the max size the jump drive can actually move, but the lower value of the jump drive and the actual ship weight, and not the weight which is shown up here, but the exact class size determines what kind of vessels are able to jump together with this jump ship. Therefore, if I should build a class which would have an exact size of 67, this jump ship would not be able to jump this ship. Therefore, it's very important either to try to get the exact size up to, in this case, 76, or keep in mind when designing other ships which are supposed to jump with this jump ship that you'll have to stay a tick under the usual class size shown up here. Okay, what else have I done? No changes for the blue here. I renamed our large colony ship for the number of cryobirths on here. And in addition, I copied in effect a smaller ship, since at the beginning inside the solar system we should be able to get away with a much smaller ship and a slower ship, but a much less expensive ship than the large colony ship, since we'll only have a very limited number of build points at the start to set up our initial fleet. I did the same with a transport. I added some additional range to our geosurvey ship, since I had to realize the solar system is a lot larger than I thought. No changes here. Fuel base. This is a very important one, and where I mainly forgot to put in the second most important component of this base. I had set the deployment time for 3 months because an orbital base is able to provide regeneration for its crew. Therefore, its morale will not drop once the base is in its area of operation and starts to work. But in order to be able to do this, we need more than just the habitation capacity and the workers which will come with this. In addition, we need a recreational facility. Basically, this means there are facilities where the crews can relax, and not just the crew of this ship, but crews from any ship which is located at the same orbit, at the same system, at the same point, essentially, because the crews from other ships can use those recreational facilities as well basically this orbital base will function basically as a planet concerning the recreational possibilities. Okay, added a bit more range for our graph survey vessel as well. No changes here. The thorium harvester is unchanged as well, but since this was only a template in order to build the fuel base, I will change it to design I will most likely use later on in the game. Short deployment time as well. And since I will pull this design into position using a tug as well, we don't need any engines. And this brought down the build points. Let's take a look again at the build points. Yeah, it brought it down a bit. Okay, what else have I done? I clicked tanker up here, or checked tanker up here. What does tanker mean? It means normally ships will start with a capped up fuel tanks, so 100% fuel when they are being built. In the case of tanker, it will only start with 10, which is very useful for fuel harvesters, since the idea is to get them to their station and they should produce fuel and not sit at their station and have to wait for actual tanker to get them some fuel from them and transport it back to Earth in order before they are able to start working. So this is useful. In addition, there's some additional orders you can give to tankers or to other ships in order to interact with tankers, mainly refueling, naturally. Okay, what else have we done? As I mentioned, I designed a smaller transporter as well, and I completely have forgotten I've still forgotten it. No, a tractor beam for our tug. Without a tractor beam, our tug is not able to tug. And since I see those cryo berths here, I added some cryo berth and additional fuel to our jump ship as well, since I had to fill up the tonnage here. And I like to have emergency cryo berth in addition to ships being able to double as a tanker. And this is even more important for jump ships, because in order to be able to provide a constant jump capability between systems for ships small enough to use this one, they have to stay right at the jump point. And if they have to stay right at the jump point anyway, doubling as a tanker is a nice additional use in my opinion. Okay, that was ships. Now, what still is missing is missiles. We need some missiles. In order to produce a missile, we'll need some missile engines. Missile engines. No, we know that we want to use size 1 and size 6 missiles. And personally, I like to have fast missiles, because speed is one of the main values which are factored into hitting other ships or other missiles. And the second thing speed does, it prevents enemy missiles or enemy point defenses from hitting our missiles, or at least makes it harder for them. Therefore, I prefer fast missiles. Due to this, my personal rule of thumb is use about 60% of the weight of a missile for engines. This would mean for our anti-missile missiles 0.6. I can't remember ever using anything less than a maximum power modifier in order to get even higher speeds. So here we have our small missile drive for our anti-missile missiles, and at 3.6 size for our size 6 anti-ship missiles. And as you can see here, it's the same as with normal engines. The smaller engine is, the higher the fuel consumption will be, and the larger the engine gets, the lower the fuel consumption will be. Okay, instant yes. Missile design. Okay, you can create different series down here, which is a nice feature in my opinion, since let me start differently. We will develop better and better missiles throughout the game, and as long as there are any lower level missiles still left in the stockpile, if a ship comes to replenish its missiles but no high-tech level missiles are there, it's able to choose a lower level missile from the same series. So I like to create two series, anti-missile missile series. We'll start with this one. For our anti-missile missile, our small engine, we just need a damage value of 1 to shoot down enemy missiles. In theory, it would be possible to put some armor on missiles, down here. But I've never seen an MPR going for armored missiles. It might be a viable option if you play 2 or more player races yourself, and one of those races is using armored missiles. But in normal NPR play, it's not needed. So we can go down to a size of 2.5 fuel capacity. Our anti-missile missiles can have a fairly short range. Our sensor range was at about 3.5 for small objects. Our missile fire control was around 3.5 as well. So that's the maximum range we will need for those missiles. We can most likely even get a bit lower here. We still need some size for the agility. At the moment our missile would travel at about 25k, and due to this have a 25% chance to hit. Since we have no agility in here, it will get no to hit bonus. Agility essentially provides a to hit bonus. Let's see if we have essentially no tech there, therefore it will not do very much for us. But let's see. It got a bit better, 28%, size 1 anti-missile missile. It's in the series. Reactors are needed in order to make self-guided missiles, or essentially for active sensors which are needed for self-guided missiles or thermal sensors. We will get into this at a later point in the game, because I will be constructing sensor buoys, and then we will need those sensor stats. But for now, create this one. Yes, I want to add it to this series. And now we create a second series, anti-ship missiles. Okay, put in the larger engine. For anti-ship missiles, we will try to stick to damage numbers which are square numbers, because for each new square number, our missiles are able to penetrate an additional layer of defense. For example, naturally, one layer of defense, since it's just one damage point. For 4, we will damage the first layer of armor for 3 points and do 1 point on the second layer of armor. At 9 damage, 1 point of damage on the third layer of armor, and so on and so on and so on. So let's try to build a missile with a damage of 9, which would mean 2.25. And here we have a problem. We would already be at size 6 for our missile. Not a very viable option, since our range is essentially non-existent, but I've completely forgotten I put some agility in here. So we have to trade agility for additional fuel. Our missile fire control is at about 18 million kilometers, if I recall correctly. So let's see. Oh, this looks viable. We even have some points left for agility, but as you can see, nothing changed. Essentially 0.9, 0.09. Agility is not enough to provide a bonus. Since our basic agility rating at the moment is just 10, if I recall correctly, we will most likely need 0.1. No. 0.1 should be right, but our missile is slightly too large. No, still not. 101, 102, 103, 4, 5. It's try and error. Maybe now. Let's check again. No. Okay, we'll stay with a longer size, longer range, and forget about agility. Nothing forces us to generate an actual size 6 missile for a size 6 missile launcher. We can shoot any kind of missile that is at best the same size as a launcher, so we will have no problem to fire our 5.191 anti-ship missiles from our launchers. But each launcher can only shoot one missile, so we would in theory be able to shoot our anti-missile missiles from our size 6 launchers, but would only be able to shoot one missile at a time. Okay, let's rename this one, since I like to have some additional information about the missile's capability without always having to look them up. It's 9 damage. It travels at 21.9 and it has a range, speed range of 20.8 and to hit probability of 21.9% versus targets at 10k, which is fairly fast for a ship and therefore unlikely, but I like to use this number back here. Okay, create in ASM, that's right. Close, close. We still have to finish researching those missiles. Yes, and instant yes. Close. And as we have seen the last time, we can preload those missiles, but in reality they are not really loaded. into the ships, but it just shows. Why does it not show up here? Most likely we need to refresh. Yes, exactly. It's simply easier to look at the summary view or the design view and see what kind of missile is assigned here. We will do the same with our Blücher and the anti-missile missiles. Okay. And now what it didn't do the last time, I have no idea why. Now our fighters are showing up down here, which will be a nice addition to our carrier. It's supposed to have one of each. I'm still at 100. Okay, yeah, that's a tad high. One fighter and one of each active sensor fighter. Since we have no missile launchers here, I'm not able to assign our size 6 missiles for our fighter bombers here at the moment, which is not really important, but for cosmetic reasons I just put in one launcher here, and since there's one size 6 launcher, I'm able to add those missiles here as well. And delete the launcher again. Yeah, everything here looks still fine. Okay, after we have constructed our ships, let's build some ships. At the start of the game we are provided some points for building ships and building PDCs. In this case 11,000 for our ships. Those are some standard task groups the program puts into the game, but they're empty at the moment. And we will build our battle task group into battle task group. First of all, we want to have let's do it differently. Even more important than combat ships at the beginning are survey ships. Due to this, we will start with survey ships, so one of our geo-survey vessels. As you can see, the total cost gets subtracted from our remaining build points. And we will need at least, wrong tab, we will need at least one geo-survey vessel. In addition, we want one jump ship in order to take a look at the jump points we find. Basically, this is a fairly bad idea at our low-tech level to take a look at other systems. Nasty things might be lurking there, but I think it would be fairly boring if we turtled in here and build up our tech. We will go exploring full bore. So we need one Bifrost here. Okay, back to and we need one cargo ship, a small one, which is one of the main reasons why I'll build the smaller versions, because those are 530. The big one, which will only be needed late in the game, is more than twice as expensive. And we have only limited number of build points here. So yes, add one to our cargo group and add one to our colony group. Colony 100, here it is. Add. So let's see. We should have covered the major points. Now we can go for a battle fleet. We will start with our carrier. Scharnhorst, 2000 points. That's a lot. And we will add some fast attack craft to this carrier. since I will be able to start training this way. Let's think about the kind of fighters and fast attack craft we will be using. I think I will add 2 heavy fighters here and 3 heavy bombers. Yeah. Next we'll add at least 2 Blüchers. Okay. And we even have some points left here. I'll have to think a moment about what we could still need best at the moment. Okay, I've made up my mind. I want to play a carrier-based game, therefore I'll add another carrier. In addition, I will add another Geo-Scout. Dinosaur? Yeah, dinosaur. And I'll add a couple of additional fighter bombers for this second carrier. We still have some points left, and I will use those for one fighter with some points left over. Okay, next we'll take a look at building a PDC, which we haven't done till now. I'll use again a copy of a design we already have here. PDC, yes, this will deselect some systems perfectly. Hull is Planetary Defense Center, yeah. Okay, PDCs. As I mentioned earlier, they're ground-based, therefore we'll have to use missiles since we don't have mesons. And one of the benefits of a PDC is that they are able to provide planetary protection value, as we'll see later. As soon as we begin to colonize other systems, our citizens will start to demand some kind of protection. If I recall correctly, once they reach a limit of 10 million citizens. And planetary defense centers are a fairly cheap way to provide this protection, in addition to providing actual protection against alien invaders. Okay, let's see. We have PDC-sized missile launchers. We have a budget of about 5,500, I think it was, build points. So let's see what we can cobble together here. We should be able to use a decent number of missile launchers actually. Yeah, more than that. As you see, for each size 1 missile launcher we get 1 planetary protection value point. And for each size 6 launcher we get 6 points. So basically for each missile size we get 1 point. Let's put some armor on this design. 20. Yeah, we have still some room left. We'll put some hangar space in here, because fighters are only able to be stored either in the hangar of a carrier or on the hangar of a planetary defense center. Otherwise their crews would start to lose morale, they can't be repaired, so we want a hangar deck. Oh, still at 10, okay, that's a tad much. We still need a bridge, and since we want to repair those ships and have some flight crew berth, We have to add some crew quarters and engineering. 300 is a bit much. 4 should be okay. We want some fuel so that our fighters can be refueled. I don't think fuel is actually needed for PDCs, but since I tend to use them as ground-based carriers, I always add some fuel. Oh, we don't need engineering. Yeah, which makes a kind of sense since this is a ground-based installation, so most likely it will be able to use the maintenance supplies from our planet. But just to be sure, I tend to stick in a maintenance storage bay here as well, even if it's not needed. It's kind of realistic in my opinion. Magazines, and we still need some magazines. Not many of them, because again we can restock our missiles from the planet itself, and I don't think it's actually needed, but I think it's a hassle to manually reload our launchers. Due to this, I tend to stick in a couple of magazines here as well. If it's 5.5, we should be fine, but I'll take a look again. So how many launches do we have here? 40 and 200. So let's say 120 of the large missiles, and the rest will be filled up with the anti-missile missiles. Okay, let's get rid of one of them. I think it would have done nothing if there's negative capacity available, but just to be sure, no need to produce unnecessary errors. There are kind of a lot of errors in Aurora anyway. The program does not protect you very good from making mistakes, and those mistakes can lead to errors. Okay, let's give it a name. Festung, Fortress. Rank, ground-based large installation, heavy installation, so it will get a captain to command it. We could get away with conscripts, I think. How many crews does this one need? Yeah, let's put it on conscripts. It should have enough time to train up those conscripts, but we will get into training at a later point. So let's build this one. 5,500 was correct. We'll add it to the battle task group for now, but we'll form a task group for itself later on. Yes, this looks good. Okay, close. And here on our planetary screen you can see that our population requests a protection level of 420, and we are providing, due to our fleet and our PDC, 665. I don't think our initial population colony will complain if there's not enough protection, but I think I've never actually tested this, since I usually have enough protection on Earth. A couple of things we can speak about when I take a look at this screen here. We have one military academy. This is not much. We want to add a couple more of them, because our military academies are producing our officers, our non-commissioned officers, and our scientists, and we are very limited at the moment in regard of scientists. Deep Space Tracking Station, it's nice, but I think I mentioned earlier, it's a passive sensor which gets better by the number of installations and by our research level for this. maintenance facilities. That's an important point. At the moment, our maintenance facilities would be able to repair and maintain ships of a size up to 13,000. Our carrier has a size of 16,000, so we will need to build additional maintenance facilities here. We have 4 shipyards. We've already taken a quick look at them, but let's get back there. The game more or less randomly divides a, I think, fixed number, again based on population, of naval, military, shipyard capacity and commercial shipyard capacity. Actually, I don't like the distribution that I see here, so we will mod this one. 2 slipways for 6,000 is essentially the same as 1 slipway for 12,000. But it's still not enough. We want to build a carrier here, and we want to build a Blücher on this second yard. So Löffler and Gütlich has additional capacity, since we will use this one to build our fast attack craft, which have a size of 1,000 max. So this one goes down to 1,000, which gives us 9,000 points. We will put 3 slipways, 6,000 on the Rosenblatt shipyard, which means we still have 3,000 left, and those 3,000 go to Mühlenberg shipyards for 15,000. Update. Okay, so still the same 42k as before, just somewhat differently distributed, and I'm actually tempted to split up the Westermann and Winkel commercial shipyard, but since the game provided us with 4 shipyards at the start, I refrain from this. We have to juggle our civilian constructions here and have to build an additional shipyard here later on anyway. Okay, yeah, with a look at the clock, I think I'll stay below the 1 hour mark for change and stop this Let's Play here. Okay, thank you for watching. More the next time. Bye.